Welcome to Beautiful Journey. Today I'm live. I'm getting ready for work and I am going to do a full face of Wet n Wild. In the categories where I have more than one product, I'm actually going to be asking you for help. And so I will try to remember. Going to let just a minute go by here to see if we get anybody joined. I've got some coffee, and so make sure that you grab yourself a beverage as well. Anyway, as I was saying, I have a few products categories where I have more than one product, and so when I get to those, I'll try to remember ahead of time to ask you which one you think I should use, and then go from there. I don't know if I can see the chat yet. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to put on my face is a primer, but let's get the bangs out of the way first. Got a funky little colic going on there. I do have the Wet n Wild Impossible primer, and I just repurchased this because I had it before and the texture was just weird. So I'm going to show you. It comes out. Okay, did you see what it just did? It's like this chunk of product, and it wouldn't smush, and so it just crumbles and falls all over the place. So I was getting ready to declutter it, and I kept seeing Andy from Andy Does Stuff say how this was her very favorite primer. And either I got a bad bottle or she's crazy. And she's a little bit crazy, but not about makeup. So I decided that I would get another one and try it. And I shook the camera, I'm sorry. And see if it was just a bad batch. So here's my new one. And why can't I see who's in here? Somebody's watching. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to squeeze it out and you'll see that it doesn't like poof itself all over the place. It is still very firm, but it's not as crumbly. And if I put it on my skin, it doesn't just break apart. It actually does start to melt so that you can just rub it into the skin. Again, I'm going to show you this old one here. It just keeps doing that. Okay. Hi, Erin. How are you? I'm showing this really ridiculous primer that was so old. Okay, so when I would put that... Abigail says hello also, Erin. So you can see that it's just this dry chunk, and when I try to put it, it just breaks apart, and it's a mess. So the end result of all of that is, yes, I did just have a bad primer. It was like this from the time I bought it, so it must have been old on the shelf. I can't remember where I bought it, but anyway, it is not supposed to do that. So we're going to put on the good Wet n Wild Impossible primer. This is a silicone-free primer, and while I'm doing that, I want you guys to think about, should I use the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation? This is not the dewy, it's just the regular one. I do have the dewy, but I'm not giving it to you as an option because I only get about 4 hours of wear time for it, and my makeup has to last a lot longer than that today. So that one, or the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. Let me know in the comments which one you want me to use after I get my primer on. So I have some primer here, and I'm just going to rub that on. It almost has a little bit of a cooling effect. Okay, Maya says she's okay. Hi, Maya, and hi, Mary. Anyway, it has a little bit of a silicone effect, but it does not have any silicone in it, if that is something that you want to avoid in your primers. So I got that on, and I don't know that it does a lot of blurring, maybe a little. I have primers that I like better. I'll put a little bit more right here. But the true test is, what does your makeup look like when you put it on? Okay, so nobody told me which foundation to use. Photo Focus or Tinted Hydrator? No? Oh, I also have this Wet n Wild Water Drop Primer in Cucumber. And it's an okay primer, but I don't like the smell. It does smell like cucumber. So if you love the smell of cucumber, you might really like the primer. But I just didn't like the smell. So, all right, we are going to go with, let's do the Wet n Wild Photo Focus. This is the one that smells a little, okay, we're going with Photo Focus. Very good. So this smells, oh, darn it. Just got foundation on my shirt. It has this weird paddle applicator and smells a little bit like paint. Smells like that the moment you get it, so it's not that it's bad. I don't really mind the paddle applicator, except that it gets super messy on the lid. So I'm just gonna put this on, spread it around a little. Probably have way too much on my nose, but that's okay. And I have my dampened beauty sponge, and we're just gonna spread that out. So today is the first really cold day that we've had this fall, and I was totally not prepared for it because I did not bring down my fall clothes yet. My closet isn't big enough for my clothes to hold all seasons at once, so I do a twice a year clothing clean out or clothing swap, and I hadn't done it yet, so all of my summer clothes are still in my closet. So I had to go up to my cold attic this morning. Hey Sylvia, how you doing? I had to go up to my cold attic this morning to bring down some clothes that I can wear. Of course, right now I'm sitting here in short sleeves because with the lights and my bedroom door closed, it gets kind of warm in here. But okay, that looks a little bit light on me in these. Maybe I have my lights too bright. Let me turn it down a little. Nope, that's going the wrong way. And let me turn down this one as well. That's too light. What do you think? That lighting better? I have a window right over here and the sun keeps going in and out, so it's messing with my lighting. Okay, so there is the foundation. I think it gives a really pretty finish. And even though it's not the dewy version, I think it just looks really nice. I have oily skin, and like I said, that dewy foundation, 3 or 4 hours is about all I get out of it, and it's just worn off all the center of my face. So I have a Wet n Wild concealer. And I also have the Incognito. Which one? Old school Wet n Wild or new Incognito? Let me know down in the comments real quick. We're going to be using the Photo Focus powder, and I bought a new one for this because I had used one completely up. So while I'm waiting for you guys to decide on Incognito or old school, here's a little ASMR for you. There we go. Okay, so we've got a vote for Incognito, so that's the one we're going to go with here. And I actually have 2 colors of this. I think this one might be my little bit darker one, but that's okay because it helps cover up the dark circles on this inner portion of my eye a little better. And so I'm just going to put that right in there and then use my ring finger and tap it in. And then I like to let it marinate for just about 30 seconds before I actually completely blend it because it gives me a little better coverage. I tried really hard to have everything laid out, and I didn't remember until I was sitting here that I actually had more than one Wet n Wild concealer. The other one that I have, you can see, is a much lighter color. I just set it down. Where'd it go? Here, you can see that this one has a little bit more of a yellowy undertone, and this one's much lighter. This one's great for using when as a brightener, especially if I put a color corrector on first and then put this over it. It's really good and gives a nice bright under eye. So now I'm going to take my finger and continue dabbing. So what is your favorite Wet n Wild product, if you have used Wet n Wild? Answer down in the comments below. If you haven't used it yet, what is a Wet n Wild product that you want to try? Then I take my e.l.f. concealer sponge. I like the shape of it. And I just go in and dab any excess product off. Doing this step will help keep you from creasing under the eye because it gets rid of that extra stuff that can move around under there. All right, so now I'm going to take the Photo Focus translucent setting powder and I'm going to set my whole face. Hi, My Nails and More. Is it Jana? Is that your name? Good to see you. And I have a brush that I got in my Ipsy. It's a Farrah brush. And yes, Jana says it. That is how you pronounce her name. Very good. Good to have you here today. And I like this. It has a small brush on one end and a large one on the other, so you can do your eyes and your face and just kind of flip around. Sylvia says she doesn't have a favorite offhand, but she does have some products from them. And yeah, it would be hard for me to name a favorite Wet n Wild product, but this powder comes close. Like I said, I had this before and I used it up, and I wasn't letting myself repurchase powders until I get through a few more. But for the video, I had to, right? Okay, so before I put my powder under my eyes, I take my finger again and make sure that I haven't set any, that there aren't any creases there, because if you powder them, then you set them in. And the other thing I have to do is I kind of have to pull this a little bit so that I can see in here. I will sometimes get creasing along this trough if I'm not careful. And then I just dab under the eyes. What I like about this powder is it doesn't make it look dry and cakey, but it does help smooth it out. So I don't know if you can see. I think that this eye looks smoother than this eye. It gives a little extra coverage too, even though this is the translucent. So we're going to pick up a little bit more, and I patted that out and dab under. Okay, so the eyes are done, and then I'm going to flip this over, use the other end of the brush, swirl in my lid where I put some powder, and just put this all over. I start in the center of my face where I'm more oily, and then go out to the outer part of my face where I'm drier and don't need quite as much coverage or oil control. And there's our base. Then I'm going to go, I only have one option for blush and bronzer, and I did purchase these new, don't know why I didn't have. Yes, they do have very good prices, Jana. And they haven't been increasing them crazily recently like a lot of other brands have been doing, which I really, really appreciate. Some brands that were more affordable now just kind of aren't anymore. Looking at Unix, yeah. And even e.l.f., some of their things are kind of creeping up there. You can still find the affordable options with e.l.f., but they are creeping up. So I have a Color Icon blush. This is kind of kicking it back old school. And I should have my receipt here so I can tell you what I paid for these. Give me 1 second. See, I tried to be organized, and I didn't. And I'm just not. Okay, so this blush was $3.18 at my Walmart. And to me, yeah, that's definitely affordable. And it's just a really pretty soft blush. I'll go ahead and give you a little swatch right there. Yes, Pixie is also kind of getting up there. I don't know that I'd even consider them to be an affordable brand anymore. They're really more in that mid range rather than the affordable range. L'Oreal is another one. It's getting tough to find a L'Oreal foundation that's not in the almost $20 range. Excuse me while I have a little coffee break here. And this is an e.l.f. Blending brush, I think they call this one. No, highlighting brush. It's a really nice shape for blush because you can get right in there on the cheekbones. So we're just going to swirl in, tap off. It is a little powdery. And then, oh, I should have done my bronzer first. Oh, well. Thank you on the mug. That was a Christmas gift from Abigail not too long ago, in case you didn't see it. There we go. So yeah, I enjoy that mug too. The other thing I enjoy about it is it's huge. So anyway, we'll go ahead and put this blush on and I'll do the bronzer. Normally I do my bronzer first, but I get all kind of discombobulated when I'm doing a live and things get out of order. So that's okay. This is a new bronzer. Also, I did not have a Wet n Wild bronzer. So this is their Color Icon bronzer. Again, Color Icon is kind of the old school products. This one is Sunset Striptease. And I thought it looked to be one of the cooler options. With my light fair skin, I have some neutral undertones. And I don't like to get too warm with my bronzer. Excuse me while I try to open this without impaling myself. I like to use these tweezers, but sometimes they slip. I think I've managed to do it without injuring myself. I maybe spoke too soon. I'm not done yet. This is scary, people. Why? Okay, I finally got into it. And I love the imprint. It's so pretty with the little palm leaf on there. And let's give you a swatch so you can see it's very light and also kind of cool toned. So if you have coloring close to mine, this might be a good option for you. If you're darker, deeper, have warmer skin tone, then you might need to try something different. I'm using Sylvia, that's funny. Sylvia says her mug says, "Woman, I am woman." They went away. Come back here. I am woman, I am invincible, I am tired. Yes, absolutely. So I like putting my bronzer on with a shaped brush like this, a slanted brush, because it just helps me get right in underneath the cheekbone like that. And then I always blend my bronzer up because you don't want to get and drag it down in here. I might have to redo my blush since I did these out of order, but that's okay. And then I like to take my bronzer. I've got these little saggy jowl parts here and kind of a little chicken waddle. And so I put that right there and it just helps create a shadow to give the illusion that you have a more sculpted jawline than you do. And I don't know why I put bronzer on my forehead when I wear bangs, but I don't know, maybe I think that the wind is going to blow and then people will see I have bronzer up there. I don't know, it's just kind of something I do. Who knows the reasons sometimes of why we do what we do, right? Okay, so that is that. Now, oh, I should have asked you guys already. I have several options for highlighter. We have the old school Wet n Wild Blossom Glow. Let's give that one right there. I have I have a cushion. I don't need to say Wet n Wild because we're doing a full face of Wet n Wild, so I can stop saying that. I have a cushion highlighter. This one is like a liquidy one. And that's there. It's actually a little bit more subdued and not quite as glittery. And I also have the Hello Halo, which is also another liquid. They're all kind of in the same pink, icy pink color family. So which one do you want to see me use? 1, 2, or 3? Comment down below. Let's see. While I'm waiting on that, the first one, Sylvia got the first one. We have 2 Hello Halos and 3 Hello Halos. So it looks like it's Hello Halo. Okay, so the way I do this is I put this on my hand first. I don't just go right in on my cheek because I'll just make a mess. And then kind of tap my finger into it so that I don't get too much. Okay, then I'm going to put this right on the high point of my cheek with my finger. And then I switch to a clean finger to help blend it out. And then I can always go back. So I'm going back and forth. Hey Carla, how you doing? I go back and forth between the finger that I put the product on and my blending finger to help me get it just the way I want it. And it gives just, look at that pretty subtle glow. Okay, so I'm going to take my middle finger here, tap out, get a little bit on there, and then come over here and switch to a clean finger. Go back in with the one with the product on it. So that's how I like to put on a liquid highlighter. I do this with blushes too. The 2-finger method works for me because that way I can correct if I get a little bit too much. And now my fingers are really shiny, so let me grab a makeup wipe here real quick so that I don't end up with highlighter absolutely everywhere. Okay, so that's the highlighter. And I think we're ready. Well, you know what? I want to do a little bit more blush. Because like I said, I put that blush on first. I'm not going to put any more on my brush. I'm just going to kind of go a little over the top. And I like to do this too because it also helps soften the edge of that highlighter. And you can also, if you get a little too heavy-handed with it, you can take your makeup sponge that has your foundation on it and just kind of tap over the top of it to help blend all of that together. All right, so I'm going to do my eyebrows, but while I do my eyebrows, I need you guys to vote again on number 1, the Wet n Wild. What's the difference between blush and bronzer, Mary asks. Okay, so the bronzer, it's really a good question. I kind of use my bronzer as a contour because I don't really see a whole lot of difference between bronzer and contour. Typically, contour is supposed to be a cooler shade, so you create shadows, and bronzer is supposed to warm up your face like you've been in the sun. And for me, I use the bronzer lower on my cheek to kind of give definition to my cheekbones. If you are having issues with your cheekbones sinking in anyway, you might not want to do that. And then I put blush up higher on my cheekbone, and I never start any closer than about the outer part of my iris. I don't want to bring it in too close. There is a trend out right now of doing blush like right here on the apples of your cheeks to give you more of that. I've been out in the cold kind of looking. If you like that, that's great. But I tend to like my blush to be a little further back, and I angle it up towards my hairline. So the bronzer tends to be a little bit warmer, give you a little bit of a tan. So when you put your foundation on, you get a completely blank canvas, and it's all sort of flat. And so then you can use the color makeup to add some contour and definition to your face. Does that help? I hope that helps. Okay, so and then the blush is a pinker color to give you that little bit of flush, add some life to your skin. All right, so back to the eyeshadows before I do my brows. Color icon. I can't find the name of this. We're just going to call this one the Pinks and Berries. Okay, we have the warmer. So this was number 1, the Pinks and Berries. The warmer browns, neutrals, number 2. This one that is kind of old and the package is dirty, so I'll open it up so you can, oh, it broke. The peaches, so number 3 is the peaches. Or number 4, the whole lot of stuff. And then if you want this one, you're going to have to tell me what color you want. So while I put my brows on, you guys pick 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? All right, so we're going to put brows on here. I did pick up a brow pencil. Did I pick? No, sorry, that's my, I gotta find it. Why can't I open it? Okay. I picked up a brow pencil. It is in the color ash brown, and I wish that my comments would stay on the screen. If somebody who does lives know how to get my comments to stay, I would appreciate that. So far, everybody is saying 1 or the pinks. So that's what we're going to go with, which is great because I have on this shirt, even though I might have to change it since I got foundation on it. But that's okay. I will... this brow pencil, by the way... doesn't say. Does have a spoolie on the other end, which for me is a must. I do not like having to put down a brow pencil and then pick up a spoolie and vice versa. And if e.l.f. can do it at the prices they do it, then anybody can do it. So I am just going to really quickly, it's not really very much fun to watch people put eyebrows on. So what are you all doing today? Let us know down in the comments. And have you started your Christmas shopping yet? Yes, Carla, thank you. Don't forget to hit that like button. And yeah, because that's important. And then maybe YouTube will show this to other people and we'll get some more people in here to watch. Okay, that was a really, really quick brow. One comment about this. This is that, and here's the classic YouTube pose. This is one of those shaped pencils. And the first time you use these, they're awesome. Mary, you're done? Golly, I haven't even started. Because you have this really sharp point on one end, and then you've got a little bit fatter on the other end, so you can draw the little fine strokey hairs, and then you can fill in with the fat part. But I typically find, oh, that's a good thing to do on a no school day. Sylvia and her daughter are deep cleaning their bedroom, her daughter's bedroom. When you use these, after the first time or two you use them, that point goes away, and then it's just kind of rounded, which is okay because I like a fatter pencil sometimes when I want to just do a quick brow and be done with it. But most of the time, I prefer a micro brow pencil because I don't have a lot of brow hairs, especially right here at the beginning and out here at the tail. And so I have to draw them in, and it's nice if you can make those little tiny hair-like strokes. Okay, my eyebrows aren't even. We're not even sisters at this point. I think we're second cousins. Let's see if I can even them up a little bit with the spoolie. The other thing is, if you take a lot of time to make those tiny little hair-like strokes, and then you come in with the spoolie and blend it, some of that goes away. So I don't find there to be a big payoff to spending a huge amount of time on my brows. I don't know why they look more even in my mirror than they do in the viewfinder. Sylvia has her Christmas shopping almost done, but needs to make cookie dough to freeze. That sounds amazing. Okay, so you all have chosen the berries, so we're going to just get going in that. Now, this one, this lighter color is actually a bit of a shimmer, and if you've watched any of my eye looks before, you know that I like to set my eyes with a regular, with my Wet n Wild Brulee, just kind of a vanilla color. I didn't put any eye primer on, but I'm still going to use this. Because if I have any oils on my eyelid, my natural oils, it will make blending a little more difficult. And so I put this on just from the crease to the brow bone, so that when I go to blend, the shadow doesn't want to grab so much, if that makes sense. All right, so let's going to go in with this color here. They don't have any names or anything, and I'm just going to use sort of a fluffier brush, and we're going to put that in the crease. I like to dab the color on first, and then start with little circles to build it up. Are you guys hosting Thanksgiving this year? Thanksgiving is at my house, and I haven't even thought about it yet. Just looked at the calendar yesterday and about panicked that it is in 2 weeks. So who is hosting Thanksgiving and who gets to relax a little and go to somebody else's house? Let me know. The setting color is this one here. It's a matte and it's kind of a muted rose kind of color. Oh, I'm sorry. No, the setting color, not the crease color. Sorry, Erin. The setting color is Brûlée. It's a Wet n Wild single. It is a little bit hard to find. I typically have to get it off the Wet n Wild website. They used to have them in Walmart and other places like that. I'm getting very concerned that they might be discontinuing it. So the next time I get one, this is the last one I have, and you can see that I've hit pan in that. I'm probably going to order about 4 of them. Going out for Thanksgiving is awesome. One time when I was about 8, we moved to California for a year. My mom got a job that was temporary. She worked in car dealerships in the bookkeeping office, and the man that she worked for opened a new dealership out there. You're welcome, Erin. And so we had the opportunity to go out to California for a year while she set this dealership up. And so we knew no one. It was my mom, my aunt, my brother, and I. And as an 8-year-old, going to California for a year was awesome. We went to Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm. We went to the mountains. We went to the beach. It was like a year-long vacation, but I had to go to school. Anyway, so now while I'm telling my story, I'm going to take this shimmer here and I'm going to put it on my finger, and that's going to go on my eye from about the center of my eyelid out to the outside. So anyway, it was Thanksgiving and we didn't know anybody, and there was no need for us to cook a meal and that kind of stuff for just us. So we actually went to Disneyland on Thanksgiving. And I don't know that it would be the same situation now because, like, this was back in the 70s. Wow, that's very pigmented and very shiny. But there was nobody there. And so we had no lines and had just the best time. An hour from Sacramento, Sylvia? Yeah, so we were in Anaheim and just had the greatest time. We went swimming in the apartment pool on Christmas Eve, and everybody thought we were crazy because, in California, if it gets to be 50 degrees, the winter coats come out. Well, it was like 75, and everybody, of course, was in jackets and stuff, but we went swimming on Christmas Eve and thought it was great, and like I said, everybody thought we were nuts. So I am now going to go into this lighter pink color right here, and I'm going to put that on the inner portion of my lid. I think I'm going to use my ring finger on this because it's a little bit smaller and it's easier to get in. If I have nail tips on, this is much more difficult to do with my fingers, and I'll tend to maybe use a brush, but I still like to do it with I love shimmers with my fingers. Oh, that's pretty. Do you see? Oh, I like that a lot. Wow. Okay. So next finger, or next side, use my left hand for this one. These are so soft. The formula on these little 5-pan shadows is just amazing. The pigment and the level of shimmer that you get for this price, I can't remember. These were, oh, I don't remember, something like $4.99. Anyway, crazy inexpensive. So I am now going to I have this little domed brush, and I'm going to go into the darkest color down here. I want to get a little definition in the outer corner, and I'm going to pull that up deeper into the crease. So I'm just tapping here. And if you want to, you can kind of tap some of it off into the lid so that you don't get too much fallout. And then again, just start with the pouncing to get the color where you want it before you start with the circles or swipes. And be careful if you have trouble keeping your eyeshadow lifted and up. You might want to use some tape or something like that so that you don't end up, when you bring your eyeshadow down into this area here, it will make your eyes seem downturned more. And as we get older, they already kind of start to do that. So we want to think about bringing the eyeshadow up from the outer corner and then across, like so. Sylvia has a few of these Sylvia in your new never been used drawer. Yes, I would say pull them out and play with them because they are just so good. This, I believe this one is the Walking on Eggshells palette, and Wet n Wild has had a Walking on Eggshells palette for a long time. This was the original Walking on Eggshells. You had this cream color, which I think is actually Brulee, and then you had, I think this one's probably Nutty. I have a single of that one, and then you have this pink shimmer. And before I found YouTube Beauty, this was like kind of my everyday eyeshadow palette. So, okay, back to what I was doing here. I am getting just a tiny little bit of fallout, but I will brush that away. Because I'm talking and not paying attention to tapping off the extra from my brush. Imagine that, me talking and getting distracted. And we have another Sylvia. Oh, okay. I was thinking that I was talking to one Sylvia and I was talking to the other Sylvia. So I was a little confused. Now I have two. Now I have both Sylvias and I know which one's which. Good to see you, Sylvia. Both of you. Okay, I am a little patchy on this side. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm not paying attention. All right, so now because I'm going to take a fluffier brush, I've got that color on there, and I'm just going to blend to get rid of some of that patchiness. And I'm pulling that into the crease to increase some definition and depth. And eyeshadow isn't just a put it on once and forget about it. There's a back and forth that happens. And so when you have your brushes, let's see, which one did I use for? This was the one that I used for that crease color. And I'm going to go back in with it without putting anything on and just kind of blend the edges again. If you have too stark of a line and you want it to be softer, you can put more on it and blend it out. And then a lot of times I'll go back to my shimmer, because when you blend, you sometimes blend away the shimmer, which is also a tip that if you don't want it to be quite as popping with the shimmer, you can always just go over it with a blending brush and it will settle it down. And then I want to just kind of blend that edge right there so that it's not a stark line. And I think I'm going to leave that for the lid area. And I want to take the color that I used in my crease on a really kind of, it's a dense brush, but it's also shaped so that it isn't too flared. And I'm going to pull that underneath the lash line. I don't want a dark color under there today, but if you did want it to be more dramatic, the Go Commando is really pretty too, Sylvia, yeah. You could then go into the deeper purpley burgundy color, and I would only put that on the outer edge if you wanted it to be a little drama. I'd probably use either a flat shader brush like that or a liner brush to get that exactly where I wanted it. I don't even know with this packaging. Okay. So we are getting close to the finish line here. I do have the Wet n Wild Breakup Proof Eyeliner, and I'm going to tightline. If you don't like watching somebody tightline, look away. I'll tell you when I'm done. The way I do this so that I don't poke myself in the eye or feel like I'm going to poke myself in the eye, look in the mirror, don't look at your pencil, okay? And then I touch it to the inner part of my eye and I push up with it because it gets it out of my line of vision. and I don't draw on my contact. You want a pencil that transfers easily so that you can get it done quickly, but that also sets down quickly, because I don't like when my black waterline eyeliner transfers to my lower waterline. I like to keep this area brighter. So, I mean, you saw how fast that was. You might need practice. If every time you come close to your eye with a pencil, you back up, you might need to just kind of be like, hang out there for a second so you get used to it. And then just gradually, kind of touch your eye. If you get started and you have to stop, then come back in. But for me, it's easier to push up just really gently. You don't have to do it hard. And then get it out of the way like that. And I just really like the way it defines the eye. And also because I have very, very blonde lashes, it helps to make them seem a little fuller if I have that dark. A lot of times I'll use brown there, but I don't have a brown in Wet n Wild. So we're going to go with some mascara here, and I am going to curl my lashes. So again, I'm done with the tight lining. Sorry, I forgot to tell you you could come back. But if you don't like watching this either, I'm going to curl my eyelashes. And just hold it there. So do you all have any fun plans for the weekend? Around here, it's opening of hunting season, and we do live on a farm, and my family is a family of hunters, so there will be some hunting happening. I don't hunt myself, but don't really have. I need to do some cleaning tomorrow, and like I said, I really, really, really need to switch over my closet. The mascara I have is the Big Papa. I've never really been a huge fan of Wet n Wild mascaras, but I think that there are some that have gotten better. So I am using this one. This is the first time I've used it. It has one of those shaped kind of fuzzy brushes, and not my favorite kind of brush. I prefer them not to have this dip in the middle, because for me, the dip in the middle makes it hard to get my middle lashes. But anyway, so let's see if we can do this. I'm probably not gonna be able to talk while I put this on, as I continue to talk while I put it on. Okay. So it's doing a pretty good job of separating the lashes, but this first coat isn't really doing much for giving me any length to speak of. I will reserve judgment. And then this brush is really hard when you're doing, for me, to do the lower lashes, because the middle one, that middle part doesn't touch my lashes at all. So I have to use the outside edge, and then I'm just more likely to get it everywhere. I guarantee you, I will at some point in this process get mascara on my nose. We'll clean it up. What's your, do you like a brush like this, or do you like the more silicone-y brushes? I kind of like the silicone brushes. To me, they seem easier to not get clumpy. But it just depends, I suppose. Sometimes, I almost always use two mascaras. I'll use one to separate and another one to give volume, because it doesn't seem like there are many that can do everything that you want them to do. Okay, so that's not bad for a first coat, especially on a new mascara. Sometimes it takes a mascara a week or two to kind of settle in. It needs to dry out just a little bit to work perfectly, but this isn't bad. So let's go in and see what a second coat will do for us. And yes, I have the mascara mouth. My mouth opens automatically when I'm putting mascara on. And I try to be conscious of it when I'm filming, and then I end up looking like a fish, because my mouth opens and then it closes, and then it opens and then it closes. It's really humorous to edit a video, and that's why lives are a little bit scary, because you can't edit anything out. But it also makes it more real. Okay, I am not yeah, Carla, I think we all do too. I am not mad at that. Look at the, I think it gave some pretty good volume, and a little bit of length. Now, it didn't lengthen as much as I would like, so I may go in and try and just get a third coat right on the tips of the lashes to see if I can get some length out of it. But for volume, it's really nice, and it's not spidery. They're not like all clumped into. I do like lives too for that reason, Sylvia. She says they're more interactive, and that was why I wanted to do this one live, because I did have some choices, and it was so fun helping you guys, helping me pick what to use rather than just guessing. All right, I'm gonna try a third coat. I know we're getting sick of watching me put mascara on, I'm sure. And I'm just going to try to put it on the tips and even like coat the tops of them a little bit. Have you ever done that with your mascara? Done the back sides? I just knocked my mirror on the floor. I don't think that there's a video that I have ever filmed that I've not knocked something on the floor. Okay, that's a little bit better for the length. I was really happy with the volume, but this is helping the length a little bit to get those tips covered just a little bit better. But I wouldn't do more than this because it is starting to clump just a little bit. Okay, that was better. I'm going to leave it at that. And because my eyes aren't so good, the thing that I do always, always, always after I put my mascara on is take that 10X mirror and look and see. And I do have a couple of spots where I've gotten, how did I get mascara above my eyebrow? Are you kidding me? Okay. And then I will let that dry before I try to clean it up. I didn't get a setting spray, so we're going to skip that step. But I do, after I do my eyes, I always kind of, I don't know, do you guys watch Allie Glines? She always says we need to assess the situation. And when I assess the situation, I almost always need more blush. So I'm just going to put a little more blush on. This blush is a little bit peachy for my eye look, but I don't care. And then I'll just blend that out. There. I think that, excuse me, I need to wipe my nose. I think that balances a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and take my bangs down, so I'm not sitting here with my 5 head glaring in your face. And let's do a lip. Okay. I have 2 of the Wet n Wild lip formulas, and I think I'm going to, since I have the berry eyes, I'm going to use, this one is new. I have a lot of Wet n Wild lip products, you guys, actually. And this is, look at that pretty color. Isn't that beautiful? Let's see if I can find a clean spot on my arm. Let's do it right there. Isn't that pretty? So I'm going to use this. This is actually, I have to use my magnifying glass because I can't see. Secret Muse. And this was a satin formula. They have different formulas. This one was a satin formula, but I also love their matte. I have this one that is skinny dipping, and this is a great neutral nude color. We'll put that right here. They're very similar. I guess I could have put them together, but this one's a little bit more of a Your Lips But Better. And this matte formula, these are like $1.98, I think. These last so well. They're the ones that have the little lips on them. There's a white one. The white packaging is a just traditional, more of a shiny finish, but the black one is the matte and very comfortable. It does not make my lips look desert dry and lasts a really long time. If you let these set down, you can put a little gloss over them and it doesn't affect the wear time too terribly much. I don't care what lipstick I use. If I eat in it, I have to reapply it. But, and then their gel lip liners are also very nice. Barely There, I think, is one of the, I think they have a color that's something like that. I may be getting that one confused with Believe Beauty, however. This one is Lay Down the Mauves, and we'll put it on my hand. It's a little bit darker. And then this one is Gone Burgundy. This is a beautiful color for fall. If you have, so I think based on what I'm looking at here with this color, I think we're going to go with the Gone Burgundy lip liner. And have a little bit of foundation. So we'll wipe that off. I don't like to overline because on me, it feels like I just drew outside the lines, and I don't like that look. Some people do it and I love it and it looks great on them. I just don't like it on me. So what did I do with my lipstick? Here we go. Oh, that's pretty. When I use a dark lipstick, I always have to kind of fix it because I do kind of draw outside the line sometimes. I also have a Wet n Wild, the liquid cat suit. These are super pigmented glosses. So if you like the look of a gloss with some color, these are really pretty, and they're also pretty to put over that matte formula. But I am actually not going to use that today because I'm very happy with how this looks. So I am ready for work. And yeah, isn't that pretty? Let me come in so you guys can see my complexion. And I didn't add all this up. I might do it for the replay, add up what these products cost that I put on my face. But the fact that you can get a really pretty put together look and you don't have to spend a lot of money, I think is super important, especially right now, but even anytime. There are just more things to spend our money on than makeup. And so Sylvia's going shopping. So, and the reason that I do this when I review products, it isn't to make you think, oh, I have to go out and buy that. But if you need a blush or you need a foundation, I would like for you to be able to know how it works on my skin. And if your skin's similar, that it might work for you. Or if there's a color that you're not sure about, that kind of thing. So anyway, I am going to go. I need to eat and get ready for work. I appreciate all of you being here and helping me pick out what I was going to wear today. This was super fun, and I think I want to do this more often. I don't know if I'll be able to get a live in weekly, but it would be really fun to do it at least every other week and get ready for work, chat with you guys, and I love the connection that a live gives. So thank you all for being here. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye-bye.